Hello everyone, my name is Tamaghna Basu and I'm here to talk about how I use AI to clone myself in the digital channel. So let's get started. So brief about me, I'm the CTO and co-founder for NeoEd. I have like decades of experience in this industry. Currently I work on NeoEd as the CTO. And apart from that, obviously, I kind of advise a couple of startups, and I'm a mentor for Stanford cybersecurity course as well. In terms of domain, I do work in cybersecurity, machine learning, and I've been working in various domains like finance, insurance, gaming, e-commerce, etc., etc. And I'm a frequent speaker on multiple conferences. I've done it in past, and primarily I did it because of obviously as part of my community activities. So that we learn from community and we also try to give back to the community, right? So moving on, as part of our current company, what I do is we actually work on a science called behavioral science or behavioral analytics. As few of you might be aware of that subject, but what I do is we actually try to profile a person based on the behavior they do. They acquire over the time, the habits they acquire on devices. For example, how you type, how you hold the phone, how you walk. All these are unique for each individual. So together we capture all these kind of parameters and try to build a profile of a person, a behavioral persona, and use it for protecting your identity. So that if someone tries to impersonate you, we can identify based on the behavior, saying that is that you or is somebody else who is trying to impersonate you. Right, and why this is important? Because that's what also sets the background of this talk. So today's agenda is this: we'll be talking about obviously the background, the demo, the architecture, and as I mentioned, I will be releasing the code. So I'll be showing on the code base, and obviously the next steps. What are the next thing can be done? And see if any of you would be interested to contribute to this or not. I'll be more than happy to collaborate and seek your support on this. Great. Moving on. So the inspiration was two-part. One was, as I was mentioning, while working in NeoEd, where we're trying to do a behavioral analysis. So one side we were trying to use behaviors to protect your identity, to prevent identity fraud. So our objective was, can I use AI to identify if there is any fraud impersonation happening or not. Now while doing it, we got this other idea also, more from an adversarial aspects, saying that, okay, what if we use it to replicate an identity? What if we can use it to clone someone, right? So that is the kind of idea we had. And obviously it got kicked by this episode of Black Mirror, which was actually season 2 first episode called Be Right Back, where the story goes like this lady Martha, she lost her boyfriend Ash on a car accident, and she was very upset, and obviously she was trying to get back to life but couldn't cope up with the depression. Now there was a futuristic company which kind of approached to her, saying that we could bring back Ash to you via chats, via social media, via video and audio and stuff like that. So she registered, and the first interface became a chat interface where she could chat with Ash over, let's say, some sort of messenger, and moving from there, it became a phone call where they upgrade to a next plan where you can actually have a phone call with Ash, with Ash's voice, and then obviously finally there was a 3D kind of model that's actually a person comes. So that's how the story goes. So definitely this actually kind of hit me, and I thought, okay, why don't we start like the same way and see if it is possible or not. So I started like a small experiment. That's how it started. So here is a quick chatbot I created, and I just want to show some of the sample chats which a conversation happened between a human and the bot. So here it goes. This is the first one. So here the left side of the screen was bot, and the right side was a human, and this human is a co-founder of mine, LSU. So this is a discussion how it unfolds. So let's say you ask something, start, and then you say start what? Then the bot says, the LSU says bot. This is bot is a guy. Then nice to meet you, bot. Nice to meet you too. So what can I do? Be a better bot. So I'm not a bot. This guy become like say I'm a wrong person. So you can see it is able to handle some sort of chit chats, a little bit of sarcasm as well, and then the human says really, then it emphasizes and say yes, I am Rapunzel, right? So nice to meet you. It says yes, nice to meet you, and then comes somebody who seems like an intelligent guy. I says I'm glad you noticed. So where are you? I'm at Kevin. No, where are you? I'm outside. So it looks like a very general conversation. Now what LSU tries to do, it tried to get into little more knowledge aspects of the bot. So what he asked that, are you an intelligent guy? Can you tell me about something? Are you a cybersecurity person? Bot says no. Then he says, are you a quantum physics? The bot says yes, I'm a quantum physicist. Then he asked, okay, can you explain particle entanglement? Bot says, I have no idea what that means. So yeah, and then says you are not a quantum physicist. I say, so you're a bot then. Yes, I've been told so. Right. So this there is a funny aspect, there is a sarcasm, there is a normal kind of chit chat is happening. Now there are further conversations happened on the similar line with other people. This is another person. A discussion happened between bot and another person, and this guy asked, how old are you? Bot says some sort of funny joke. It's just a number. You are so as you so. He says, but how old are you? What do you think? How old I am? I say 18, and then it cracks a joke. It says, it sounds like I can crack a joke for you. Now this is another person, and this guy tries to become a little more philosophical. So he says, okay, fine. Is that a philosophical question? Then this guy says, no, it's an interesting question. And then some random discussion. So that's again a behavioral trait which I have. Let's say when I talk to my friends, randomly switch the topic, show some sort of sarcasm, be funny at times. So definitely it looks like those kind of flavor of behaviors is able to replicate here, right? And here is a small social proof of that. The idea was when I built this as a sort of a beta testing, I tried with a close group of friends. And when I say friends, they are all working professionals, entrepreneurs, as well as cybersecurity experts who are friends in my network. I've just given them this bot over a WhatsApp or Telegram and asked them to chat with it. And in our common friends group, this is few of the friend has responded back saying that they feels like it looks like it's not a bot, but they thought it's me actually is chatting with them, right? So although I'm not saying that I have passed the Turing test, but definitely this gives me to some extent a bit of satisfactory result of feelings, saying that okay, fine, it looks like I've tried to achieve a part of the objective which I have, right? Now here is a small video demonstration taking it to the further. So let me show you the further what kind of final outcome we're looking at. And this is actually a bot which is actually talking over video.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks. How are you?
Good.
Okay, hey, need some help if you don't mind.
Tell me.
Well, it's a bit awkward to ask you this, really sorry.
Right, so we will see this demo further, more details, but you can see that it's quite achievable, and it's something I'm able to do with the video and audio. So that's the ultimate goal I had. So my ultimate objective was, can I build an avatar of mine, let's say, which can be used to actually have a conversation over text, voice and video as a channel, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. So let's deep dive into the architecture and see how this has been built. All right, so So in the entire project, I've kind of split it in three parts. I call it the brain, the voice, and the face. All right. The brain is the engine, the NLP engine, which is the crux of this entire project, where it knows a sort of what kind of discussion, what kind of questions, and what kind of answers I should give, how we should generate answers, in what context I should generate answers, and when I'm generating or I'm responding to somebody or creating an answer, it should resemble some part of my behavioral traits, right? So this is something. This is the crux of the entire thing, and the next part is the voice and the face, right? So the voice comes, which is about the voice cloning, where I can try to then clone my voice and see that, okay, can I talk like in audio which is sounds like me. And finally the face, where can it be in my face, my appearance, right? Now just to mention here, we guys already know about deep fakes, right? Deep fake on voice, deep fake on face and audio. So there are a lot of videos like that has been there. So as I said, I'm not here to make another solution which is better than what is there in the industry. So I'm pretty sure deepfakes or voice cloning, the deep neural network, whatever is there is fine, which is much better and work perfectly fine. The point here I'm trying to make is can I make it interactive? Can I make it more lively? Now in the chatbot domain, this kind of concept is called open domain chatbot. Now this is one of the most difficult area of research, where can I build a chatbot where based on with an NLP and neural network, where I can have a free flow discussion, right? So that's what is the part which 80% of the time I've spent during this research, right? So let's dive into this part and see what exactly I have done, right? So the brain, when I talk about the brain, right, it is an engine which learns from my past behavior. It's a past behavior. It's just my past conversation. So what I did is, in terms of in a nutshell, is basically I've kind of extracted out all my possible, let's say, chat histories, which I have used. I've kind of spoken to different people in Facebook, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, over email, and I've kind of collected all this data. I have processed this data, created in a meaningful manner, saying, okay, this is the kind of sample data which you should be trained, and with this data you should understand that my way of saying things, right, is so that somebody who has already spoken to me in past, and the person again tries to talk to me, the person should get the similar feeling, right, in terms of discussion. Now then I fed into various kind of model, and this part was the tricky part, because honestly speaking, there was not much good model I was getting. So basically I tried multiple model, sequential model, neural machine empty model, and then rule and intent based model. These are model various kind of ways of generating text, right? In NLP, if you're familiar with NLP, these are various ways you do it. But overall, the idea was actually we use a sequential model. We try to feed in some context to that, and then generate an output. Now the output, as I said, wasn't always good. So what I tried to do is basically I created multiple model, feed in the data. Whenever there's an input comes, it generates an output which is a response, and then looking at the confidence score, find out what is the best possible answer which I could get, and then give that back to the system. So that's in a very basic explanation of how it works. So this is the training part. Once this training is done, we generate the model, and we do it. Now the problem with this is all this model are good in terms of it is able to get the, let's say, the utterances, the words, kind of words I used and stuff like that. However, most of the time it is not able to generate a sentence which makes sense. So it generates a collection of words, but those words together doesn't form meaningful standard sentence in that context. That was one of the challenge I had, and that then made me take a different route for this approach, right? And this is where the next kind of category of approach which I'll be spending time on. So what I try to do first is I try to look into this data and categorize them into multiple branches, saying that okay, when I'm having some conversation, what kind of conversation mostly I had, or I'm kind of I can feed this into in different buckets. So there are 4 categories possibly I could identify. One is chit chat. Chit chat is nothing but simply hi, hello, how are you, those kind of discussion. Second is historical data. Historical data means this is something I have spoken or I have told, or I kind of had this conversation on this context, and the same kind of question was asked to me again, right? So maybe something which somebody can I come to your house today, and or shall we meet tomorrow, right? So something like that which has already been discussed, or probably on a specific context, right? Okay, fine, I'm going to this hackathon, are you coming to me, coming to join me, something like that. Now comes that's called category 2. Now the category 3 was topical, factual, something like basically how is the weather today, or what is SQL injection, or probably it could be, let's say, okay, how long it will take for you to come from Bangalore, something like that, right? So there is some part of knowledge is required for that. That is category 3. And category 4 was pure generative, philosophical, anything which is not the category 1, 2, or 3, which is basically is a free flow chat, right? It could be what is the purpose of life, what is love, define life, something like that, something generic. So these are overall the 4 category, and what I try to do is I realize that when I try to do a different treatment for this different category, and that's how we can actually I try to get a better response or better result of this engine, right? Now how do I handle it? This is how I handled it. So Rasa is an open source chatbot framework using which you can actually create a chatbot. This is mostly used for let's say not open domain but a closed domain chatbot, where actually you have some specifically say a hotel booking bot or some business related bot, people ask it. Now how it works, it has basically there are 4 properties. First is called intent. Intent is nothing but okay, what the user is want to know or want to do, what is the intent of the user. So for example, if a user is saying hey, hi, how are you, good morning, some stuff like that, intent wants to greet me, right? If a user says goodbye, good night, see ya, then which means intent means user wants to say goodbye, right? So this is called intent. Now then you define, okay, if this is the intent, what is the response I should say, right? If someone says bye, I should say bye. If someone says great, I should say hello or how are you or hi, just like that, right? So this is the response you define, and then you stitch them together. So this is where you actually, this is called stories, this is called intent, this is called utterances, and this is called stories. And this story is nothing but you say, this is where you say, okay, this is the, if there is a grid, you should respond with utter grid. If there is a thank, you reply with utter no worries, like that, right? So that's how you club it together and say, okay, if user says bye, bot says bye, user says thanks, bot says no worries, like that. So this is where the category 1, the chit chat, can be handled, because when I say chit chat, hi, hello, how are you, the majorly the response will not change, right? It will be the similar kind of response. So I used Rasa for the category 1 kind of records. Now comes the category 2, which is historical data. So this is where a lot of data processing comes. So what I did is we as I said, we used multiple data sources like my WhatsApp chat history, Facebook chat history, LinkedIn discussions over messages, and we kind of parse all this together, and I created this format. Say, okay, this is the message and this is the response, which essentially means that okay, this is what I was asked to me in past by somebody, and this was the response I have given in return. So for example, someone says thanks boss, then I said, okay, why thanks? This is a little bit of Hindi, but thanks, sorry for not getting much involved, stuff like that, right? So yes, can we meet late evening? I say sure, come over. This is Hindi, right? So this is what the format or the structure, data structure I created. Now, what I use this for? Now there is another open source chatbot framework called Chatterbot. I use this for handling this, because what it does is, this is where you can actually give a collection of user a free flow question answer and get it trained. And what happens is, so that next time if someone asks any of this, the first one, then the response will be second one. If someone says third one, the response will be the fourth one. So like that, Chatterbot works. So this is where I handled historical data and the conversations, right? We use Chatterbot for that. Now third is if you remember, third one was the topical, the asking the questions, right? How far Bangalore is from Delhi, or how far, let's say, New York is from California, or what is the time right now in San Jose, something like that. So for that, we again use Rasa, but Rasa has a different component called custom actions. What does that mean? Is this is where you define a structure in terms of, you can call a third-party API, right? You can call a third-party service to gather data, and using that data, you can actually identify the response and do it. So, for example, this is one kind of action I created, which goes in Wikipedia and get the result out of Wikipedia. So, if you ask something which is, let's say, what is I don't know, maybe same thing. What is particle quantum physics or particle entanglement? It will probably go to Wiki and it will get the response and it will send it back to me, right? So this is called custom actions. That's what I used. Now comes the fourth category, which is free flow. Now free flow is very interesting, as I said. This is where it can be any discussions. Now for that, already there are the two interesting model I found. One is Parl AI. Parl AI is created by Facebook. It's an open source, free flow, open domain chatbot, and these are some examples given. So if you go to the website, you can actually see that this actually talks in generic. So there is not much other thing, but when basically I say, can you have a dinner, and say, okay, it's a tough one, okay, interesting choice. So what question do you ask him? Okay, I would like to know how he came up with the idea for the iPod. Okay, today iPod changed the way everyone listens to music. So you can actually have a discussion like that. Why did the mushroom go to the party? I'm not sure, but I'm glad it did. Like that. No, it was supposed to be a joke. Oh, sorry, I didn't get it. What kind of joke it was? I like jokes. So this is how it was. So basically, the blue ones are the bot, and the gray one is the human, right? So you can have a normal conversation here. So that is what you do. However, there is another model I found, which is called Dialog GPT, which is created by Microsoft, and this guy also does the same thing. And you can have, so these are some samples where you can actually see how it works. The user does my money buy happiness. Bot says depends how much money you spent on it, right? User says what is the best way to buy happiness? So you just have to be a millionaire by your early 20s and then be happy. So you can see that there is to some extent an intellectual conversation you can have, and this is the two model we found. Now GPT has multiple versions, GPT and GPT-2, and most recently now OpenAI has kind of about to release, I think, GPT-3 also, and that's much more bigger and better. So GPT is a model which allows you to generate text, and what they're saying now, the GPT-3 can generate any kind of articles, statements, poetry and stuff like that. So it's very interesting. Things are happening there. Now for free flow, I had these two choices, and out of these two choices, I personally favored Microsoft Dialog GPT because Parl AI was good. It has more, but it sounds more formal. However, like when I'm talking to my friends, I don't want to be very formal, right? I want to be more like in WhatsApp dude kind of a conversation, right? So Dialog GPT has that kind of intimacy in terms of conversation. So overall, I kind of created this as an architecture. So the way it works is we first is the interface. So I have exposed it over WhatsApp and Telegram. WhatsApp via Twilio and Telegram via Flask, because Python Flask server webhook we created. So we created an API gateway where this comes, and this is where the user identification happens. So based on the number or the username, I recognize which is the user, because based on that user, you can actually send some context, right? The previous history, chat history of that person, that defines the context or probably the data which you can print, and then we do some logging and stuff. Then it goes to Rasa, and it first gets checked, is it a category 1 or category 3, and based on that it responds back from here. But it says no, it's not cat 1 or cat 3. Then it goes to Chatterbot for the category 2. You get the data back from here, and then it responds back, and then for category 4 it can use either one of this. So right now I'm showing Pearl AI, the one, but this one also kind of in the process of integrating. So both of this together can do it. Now what happens here is there is a scoring mechanism also. So what happens is it gets the response from here. Every time I get a response from one engine, I check the confidence score. If you're confident, set a threshold there. So let's say the threshold is 80 or higher, then only I'll get that, accept that response and send it back. Because it may happen that I'm able to get a response from one model, but the problem is it may get a response which doesn't make sense. And the way to define is obviously the confidence it has on the response. So that's how the structure works. Now this was almost near real time, so you can actually have a conversation. You could have a conversation over chat over this interfaces and do it. So that's how it works. Now moving on, one thing was missing so far was context, right? So if you see the data structure all over, so far I've been just a Q&A kind of option, right? This is the question asked, this was the answer. This is the question, this was the answer. So there was no way I could actually establish a context. Now this was another model I tried, and this was actually already there. It's a transformer model where the idea is, let's say there is a discussion happened, you had a chat. Now whatever response you have given, the previous 4 or 5 or 6 you can define what is the number of context statements you want to do. Those statements become the context to get this as a response. So essentially the idea here is saying that, I will only say this when I have this as the context. So there is a discussion, there is a history I'm talking about, right? So there could be references of something which 5 statement back you spoke about. So this context, this can actually give you a sense of conversation. So this is one concept which takes your chat from a Q&A perspective to a conversation perspective, right? So this is what, again, another thing has been tried, and unfortunately I did not get good results. However, it was okay. So this part can be fine-tuned and improved, which can be done. So yes. So overall, this is what generates the engine, right? The context, the chat engine. Now moving on, the voice. Now voice part is there are primarily 3 models which I've tried, which is one is Tacotron 2, which is again it's a Google published this model for voice cloning. This requires a lot of data, so I tried with, let's say, around 500 samples of my talk. I've recorded with, let's say, a speech with 5 to 15 seconds each, and then I tried to feed in. With Tacotron I didn't get much a good result, because they say that I need at least, I don't know, maybe some 10 hours of recordings, which is pretty tiresome for me, so I couldn't do that. Real-time voice cloning, the third one, was a very interesting thing. This is which works at a very less data, and it actually can generate a voice which sounds like a cloned voice of yours. However, the problem is the pre-trained model was on US accent. Unfortunately, being an Indian, I have an accent problem, right? So my accent doesn't fit well there. Now that's why right now, as we speak, there's a training going on the middle model, which is called Cycle GAN. Now Cycle GAN is actually transforming. So GAN is actually a a category of neural network, generative adversarial network, which is basically what they do is they actually transfer your properties of your voice to a pre-recorded voice, and it's supposed to work with much lesser data. So this training is going on, although there is too much of error. So here is a small sample I could get. This is what I'm going to play for you guys. So hear it out. This is the original one.
Printing, in the only sense with which we are at present concerned, differs from most, if not from all, the arts and crafts represented in the exhibition.
Right, and this is the generated one as of now.
Printing, in the only sense with which we are at present concerned, differs from most, if not from all, the arts and crafts represented in the exhibition.
So as you see, there is too much of loss, and it was actually not. So I could figure out the wordings, sound. The voice sounding is slowly getting towards my way of saying. However, the clarity is missing, and it's still getting trained. So I hope it will improve over the time. So over the time, so this is the second level of architecture on voice we did. So assuming this Tacotron, I have enough data I can train. I'm pretty confident that this works. People have tried it, and as I said, my job is not to prove that voice cloning work, because there's already a model. It's a matter of data and time and GPU and cost. My objective was to build this chat engine, the conversation engine, which can actually have a conversation with you. So now what I did, I clubbed this thing together and create this as an architecture, where what you do is you can actually talk, say something, and it can do a speech to text conversion using Google's API, speech to text. Then the text goes to this engine, and this engine generates the response. This response then goes to that voice model, and the voice will actually will take the text and generate a voice output of that saying that same text, and that gets replied back. So while this is happening, this training is going on, just for the demo what I did is I use a Google, this is another hack I did, which is I used Google text to speech as a service, and I try to take text to speech. Google has multiple persona. You can actually figure out, define that you want an Indian speaker. You want an Indian speaker with, let's say, a Bengali accent, or let's say a South Indian accent. So I experiment with them and try to get one which actually has probably a similar accent or similar voice with me, right? So together with this, it can actually create a voice engine which works perfectly fine. Now comes the face. This is very interesting. Now again, I said deep fake and those kind of things already there. That was not my objective. My objective here was can I generate a face in near real time, so that I can simulate a call, let's say a Zoom call or a Hangout call, and it should be able to say whatever I want them to say, in terms of lip syncing, in terms of generating the voice and syncing the lips as if it looks like I'm saying that. So I have used two libraries project. There's a LeapCan and audio driven talking head pose. Now out of these two, the LeapCan was actually a project which gave some more realistic result. So here is some demo. So initial first one is the audio driven talking head pose, the first one.
Hello, how is life? Weather is good today. When to so today? I am not a robot. Who are you? Where is your house?
As you can see, the face is a little bit shaky, so it is not actually giving me a good result. So
Hello,
this is the second
how is
one.
life? Weather is good today. When to so today? I am not a robot. Who are you? Where is your house?
So this was much better, but still, I could see that there is a little bit of shake, and it was not very convincing. So then the LeapCan was more convincing. So these are the two demo. First one was generated from a picture. So let's show you how is it.
The environments bank provides it is one of the most interesting that have been working before.
Okay, as you can see, the leap movement was kind of realistic. Now putting it together on a video, this is how it looks.
The examination and testimony of the experts enabled the Commission to conclude that 5 shots may have been fired.
So here you can clearly see the lip syncing was much better and it was very convincing to some extent, right? So definitely this overall between these two model lip can given us a much better result. So now I club this thing together, right? So let's stitch it together. So the entire flow, the way it works is first as I said, the brain which generates the response, then it should go to the voice engine which will generate the voice, and then it should feed this voice into the face engine, where it should take the face video and impose this voice, and it will do a lip syncing so that finally I'll get a video which looks like in real time, it's saying what I'm saying. Now how do I club it together for, let's say, take it further, is this is where the next component comes, which is the video streamer cam twist. With this what I do is I created an app which stream between two videos. So there's one video which is a silent video listening, as if that I'm just staring at the camera and listening to what the other person is saying. That's a listening video, and what it does, it keeps listening and say that video gets played, and using cam twist I made it as a virtual camera to let's say Hangout. So that Hangout, whenever switches on the camera, somebody will see that this video, a streaming video. Now the other thing was this clone engine, which is has the speech to text recognition and stuff. So the way it works is, let's say I'm talking to you. So in Hangout you will say, "Hi Basu." So my speech recognition module will take that. It will generate the text. It will go to that engine. Engine will generate the response. That will go to the video. Video will generate the video saying the response, and then my streamer will switch from the silent video to the talking video, as if that I'm just talking it. So this is how this entire model work, and let's see it live in action, how it works. So this is a call between Alessio and me, and instead of me it was my bot who is talking to Alessio. So this is actually my bot.
Hello. Hi, what? Hey, how are you? I'm doing very well, thanks. How are you? Good. Yeah, tell me. Tell me. Okay, hey, need some help if you don't mind. Okay, no problem. Well, it's a bit awkward to ask you this, really sorry. Okay. Sorry to ask this to you. I have no other options for now. I am asking few close friends. Can you help me on this? Okay. I just need it for this month. Send me 2K via Google Pay. Will pay back in 10 days once I get from folks to from me. Okay. Can you please transfer me now? A bit urgent. Use phone pay also. Please send me screenshot in WhatsApp once sent. Okay. Thanks again. So, what's new in your life? Call me once you are free. We'll talk. Bye. Yo, you are the funniest person I have ever seen.
Right. So yeah, so this is what is a prototype which I've created. Now, as you can clearly see here, there is always a gap. However, this gap was in terms of making the voice more convincing, making the facial expressions, probably adding some more emotions to the voice. So those are the things which is in the roadmap, which definitely has to be done. Now, if you really want to try it, this is the source code, and this is in my GitHub. If you go to this GitHub Titan Lambda Identity Cloning, you get all the documentation and the steps to set it up and run it on your own, right? Road ahead, as I said, expression, probably bypassing some biometrics. Those are the things we can try it out. And as I said, I'll be happy to hear your suggestions on this. Now, last but not the least, obviously our vision was create futuristic technology. That's what is NeoID is for. And we are doing behavioral biometrics and also prevention mechanism to such kind of adversarial attacks. So we would definitely need support. So we're looking for obviously angels and other people who can support us to build this kind of technologies, right? These are various references and the community support I got in terms of this idea to prototype and building and all this. And last but not the least, as I said, with my knowledge and understanding whatever I have, I would definitely try to build it as a course, as a workshop, which I give conduct in various times. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and please check out the repository. Thank you.
Okay. Hi guys. So thank you for watching, and I think I've already answered your questions over the chat. So in case you have any further questions, you can reach out to me over email, or you can shoot me an invitation in LinkedIn. So I'm happy to connect and probably talk further. And if you have any quick question, I can answer. Thank you.